Sick of lower back pain? We're going to take you through the most common cause and things that you can do at home to help. I'm Dr Kez, Doctor of Chiropractic from Dr Kez's Chirolab. If you're new to this channel, consider subscribing so that you don't miss any of our videos. Now, lower back pain. It's something that plagues all of us at some point in time in our life. The most common cause of lower back pain is actually an anterior pelvic tilt. It's the result of certain muscles being weak and others being too tight. What happens is you end up with an increased curve in your lower back, which puts pressure into nerves and areas of your back that really shouldn't have that type of pressure. What we're going to do today is we're going to take you through the tight muscles and how to stretch them, and also which muscles are weak and how to strengthen them. So let's start by talking about the tight muscles. So if you can have a look over to the side here, you've got a beautiful model standing there showing you an anterior pelvic tilt. We've got muscles in the lower back area here that are tight, and muscles at the front of the hip flexors, that are also tight. So these are the muscles that we're going to need to stretch. Now, the opposite areas, the front of the body here where the abdominal area is, and also the glutes, are relatively weak in comparison. And as a result, this allows the pelvis to tilt forward. So we need to strengthen those muscles. So let's take you through how we do that. Let's start with stretching the lower back. So to begin with, we're going to take the pelvis in the opposite direction that it's been sitting in with an anterior pelvic tilt. We're going to tilt the pelvis backwards. So bring your knees all the way up to your chest and give them a hug with your hands, holding on and pulling them back as far as you can, within tolerance of course. Make sure you're on a nice soft surface, or even on your mattress in the morning. This is a good one to help stretch out those muscles when you first wake up in the morning. Now, this is a basic stretch. What we're going to do to help extend this stretch is we're going to gently bring our legs to one side. So bring the knees down together, off to one side. Now, don't do this fast because you'll end up with your lower back going pop, pop, pop. That is not the intention of this stretch. We're just wanting to elongate those muscles that have been stuck in the opposite position and been tight for such a long period of time. Allow your shoulders to remain on the ground when you do this, so free your hands. And if you find this stretch is too easy, you can extend your leg to allow yourself to go even further into a stretch. And again, nice and gently, we don't want any releases in your lower back. Always make sure you do this stretch on both sides. That's really important. Now that's your lower back covered. Now we need to talk about the muscles of the front of your hips. We call them the hip flexors, that are also really tight. A really common one when you've been spending a lot of time sitting at home doing work at the computer, or when you're at work or what have you, sitting in an upright position like this, or even if you're someone who drives a lot in the car. This muscle becomes quite short, so we need to elongate and stretch it. First stretch we're going to show you is one that you can do on the floor here, and we can make sure that your knee isn't locked too heavily on the floor because it can cause you a little bit of knee discomfort. So make sure that knee goes right back so you're not putting pressure on it. And looking at that front leg there, make sure that your knee never bends past your toes, because this can put undue pressure on your knees as well. We don't want to cause any other injuries when we're trying to fix your lower back pain. So stretching forward here, dropping your pelvis right down so that your hip gets closer and closer to the floor is the idea of this stretch. And you will feel that when you're doing this stretch correctly, right in that front of your groin there. That's where you should be feeling it. One of the tricks to this stretch is make sure you don't tighten your backside when you do it. If you can relax your backside intentionally, you'll feel that you'll get a much better stretch out of this. Again, make sure you do it on both sides. Any of the stretches that we're taking you through, we're suggesting that you hold them for about 30 seconds. This is a good amount of time to hold a stretch for. So that's your psoas stretch. There is another way that you can do this if you're having difficulty getting on and off the floor. Let's face it, sometimes with lower back pain, you can get to that point where you really can't be doing exercises on the floor. You can do this up on a bed or on a chair, and we'll take you through how to do that now. So making sure that you lock that foot in so that you don't fall forward. Making sure that you put that front foot forward far enough so that you don't bend your knee past your toe again, also really important. Hold on to something for stability. It's really important to do that as well. And again, let your backside relax and lean forward into that stretch. The beauty of doing it this way is that you don't need to get on and off the floor if your back's really sore. All right, now let's move on to how we can strengthen the muscles that are weak. First of all, we're going to start with the gluteal muscles. Sometimes when our muscles at the front of our body are tight, it switches off the gluteal muscles and we need to re-engage them. So if you lay down on your tummy and lift your knee up like this, lifting your whole thigh off the ground, you will find that it will engage that gluteal muscle. You can lean back and have a feel of that muscle while you're doing it and just make sure that you're feeling it contract. We often suggest a ball, a Pilates ball, in between your hamstring and your calf. That can really help you to contract that back part of your body to allow for that lift to occur, and it's really good on engaging that muscle. Now, once we've trained that muscle to engage, we now want to roll over onto our backs and start to work the muscles of your abdominals. We're just going to get Em, our beautiful model here, to do a plank first though, to show you if you haven't done any abdominal exercises for a long time, start with an isometric contraction like this. You're not expecting the muscle to shorten at all, you're just holding it in contraction and making sure that you're engaging that muscle. So if you've had really bad back pain, this is the place to start. Make sure you keep your backside down. If you've got your backside bent up in the air, you're actually contracting the very muscles we're trying to loosen, so don't do that. Nice and straight. Now, rolling over onto our back to do some pulses. These are beginning, and then we'll move up to a slightly more advanced exercise for your abdominal muscles. The idea here is to bring your ribs to your pelvis. So we're trying to shorten that muscle, and that will help to tilt the pelvis back to the way that we want it to take pressure off your lower back. So here we can see some pulses happening. Once you have done those pulses, if they're too easy for you, we can start to do some crunches. So moving so that you're getting your whole shoulder blades there off the carpet or off the floor mat, so that you can really bring your ribs and your pelvis together. That's the key to this exercise. This is working the upper part of your abdominal muscles. What we also need to do now is focus on the lower part of your abdominal muscles so that we're training the muscle from the top and the bottom. Again, both of these things are going to help that pelvis to tilt back under the way that we want it to take pressure off your back. So we're going to start with ourselves in tabletop position here. Beginner exercise is just toe tapping down like this. Again, always do the exercise on both sides. If that's way too easy for you, then we can start to extend one of the legs. Don't let the leg touch the ground when you do this. That's part of the challenge in maintaining good strength of the lower abdominal muscles. During these exercises, always make sure that your lower back is flush to the floor. If you start to feel it arch and come away from the floor, this exercise is a little bit too advanced for you, and go back to the beginner ones, because it's much better to protect your back. We're trying to fix it. We're not trying to make it any worse. If this exercise is too easy for you, you can start to put the legs together and bring your legs all the way down to the floor. That's really advanced. 45 degrees is more advanced than the previous exercise, but not quite as advanced as getting your legs to go all the way to the ground. So just do whatever's within your tolerance, and again, make sure that your lower back is always flush to the ground. If it's not touching the ground and it's arching, back it off a little bit until the abdominal strength is there. So these are the ways that we can strengthen the muscles that are weak and stretch the muscles that are tight. Make sure you do the stretching first. It's really important to elongate those muscles before you then go and engage in the exercises. And that's a great way to help you in the most common of lower back issues. As a chiropractor, I am always surprised at how long people put up with lower back pain. If you've had an issue with your lower back, pop it in the comments below. I'm curious to know just how long you've been dealing with this, and I'm really hoping that these stretches and exercises are going to help bring you some relief at home. Obviously, if your back pain is extremely bad, it's important to go and get someone to take a look at it, chiro or an osteo, or someone who can help you with the joints being in an misaligned position. Is really important. I hope you've enjoyed what we've done today. Please click on the like, consider subscribing to our channel. We really appreciate your feedback, and we love helping you in any way that we possibly can. So if there's anything else that you would be interested in us doing a video on, any other areas of your body that are ailing that you would like a chiropractor's perspective on, please pop it in the comments below as well. Thanks for having us on your therapeutic journey.